And I do have one very affirmative statement to make. We won.
But I didn't lose. I got the votes. But we won't know exactly how many because of how they cheated.
I did win my election. I just didn't get to have the job.
We were robbed of an election.
Using the word rigged, using the word steal.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. Careful who your heroes are, because they just might turn out to be dirty frauds, like Stacey Abrams, who herself claims to be the governor of Georgia. Time and time again, she has run for the governor of Georgia. She's lost in landslides. Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her smutty romance novels either. We'll get to that in just a second. But Stacey Abrams still claims to be the legitimate governor of Georgia. Here she is just last weekend talking about how it's very dangerous to have election deniers in office.
Election conspiracy and attempting to undermine how our process works. No politician is entitled to win. I know that personally. But we are all entitled to trust the process. And when that process is threatened by outside actors who are willing to undermine election security and undermine and commit fraudulent acts to achieve their ends, then they are thwarting the will of the people.
Fraudulent acts? Well, what is this I'm reading in Politico, left-wing Politico? Well, it turns out that Stacey Abrams' group is the one committing fraudulent acts. Voting group founded by Abrams, led by Raphael Warnock, now a deeply illegitimate senator from the state of Georgia, faces financial scrutiny. Raphael Warnock, again, the guy who beats his wife and is a complete and utter embezzling fraud and a fake Christian. Yeah, no, and it looks like the New Georgia Project, which helped turn Georgia into a swing state. Yeah. Confronted by allegations of mismanagement, undocumented spending, New Georgia Project, voting rights organization, founded by the state's Democratic Star. Wouldn't that, what office does she hold right now exactly? Somebody explain to me that? What office does she hold? Is she the president of China? Did she win in the Israeli Knesset in that election? Is she in charge of Hamas? Like, what office exactly does she hold? The organization, which played a key role in registering new voters, necessary to turn Georgia from a red state into a swing state with 2 Democratic senators, is conducting its own internal probe into its finances in response to claims of irregularities, according to its own board. The move comes as the group's tax filings indicate that the former executive director, who was handpicked by Abrams in 2014 but fired last year without notice, owes the organization thousands of dollars for non-work-related reimbursements. The former director, Nisi Ifete, whatever the hell that is, who left the group last year, after heading it for 8 years, denies owing money and calls the allegation a effing lie. The debt attributed to Ufot is one of the multiple instances of poor financial record keeping and allegations of misuse of funds uncovered by Politico. The New Georgia Project didn't properly track company expenses that were already prepaid to employees on Visa gift cards and failed to account for salary advances on other expenditures, according to a review of financial disclosures and internal documents. Most were granted anonymity to discuss the sensitive internal matters. Turns out that Politico went here with a bombshell on how this organization, founded by these 2 unbelievable fraudsters, is an absolute disaster. So apparently, the New Georgia Project collected more than $36,000 in donations in the fiscal year 2020, while the organization has built up a political capital in the state among Democrats and large volunteer base for canvassing and voter education events. Read voter fraud events. Behind the scenes, there was disarray, according to multiple staffers, frequent turnover at the top finance role, allegations of money misspent or missing, or complaints of inadequate tracking or expenditures. Ufot was fired at the start of 2022's election voting period, ostensibly the group's busiest moment. Wow. I went there all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and now I'm disillusioned, recalls a former C-suite employee. I got the assumption that it was driven by ego after the 2020 elections. What could have possibly brought you there? And that there was this. We can do anything we want. Look at how much money we got. It looks like you have the BLM problem. You're going to Black Lives Matter problem, right? $96 million in the bank. Now, nothing. Down by 99% their donations. And what that's called is a fraudulent organization. So I think these things got combined with no checks and balances, not having operational department in place that is allowed to put into policies, procedures, and safeguards, which I thought, well, I was hired to do. And the rapid growth facilitated this. The rapid growth from Hollywood, effectively wanting to make Georgia the new Hollywood because they destroyed Hollywood and they want to go build a bunch of studios there. And people like The Rock and Oprah funneled money into organizations like this to turn the state purple. Chair of the new Georgia Project, taking all the necessary steps to secure the return of thousands of dollars that were misspent. Yeah. So let's rip through the rest of the allegations in this article. Management was in disarray, compounded by infighting. Multiple former employees claimed the organization had a toxic work environment that became unnecessarily stressful and fomented distrust between the staffers that often erupted in private groups. What were some of the mistrusts? Well, you can see here that $50,000 was withdrawn by organization accounts by a senior administrator who was serving as one of the deputies for this guy who was kicked out. $50,000. How do they know that? Well, because they actually looked at the Wells Fargo bank accounts and they matched it up. This is like whenever they run like a fraudulent UN, dictatorship operation in like the Middle East or South America or Africa, when the leaders just effectively like defraud the entire organization. This is how Hamas is run, right? This is the same thing. Hamas just like literally takes all of the money and uses it on themselves. So they found like these massive amounts of fraud, tens of thousands of dollars worth of fraud. Nobody knows where any of the money went, right? And so now they've like collapsed in their fundraising, right? They're not able to raise any money. All the money came in the 2020 election. In 2020, they'd only raised $1 million and $1.8 million respectively. But in 2020, the coffers ballooned to nearly $25 million. Now, where the hell did that money come from? Now, that's a great question. Who absolutely plunged Georgia into election chaos with what are you buying with $25 million with this shady ass organization? This is why they keep hyping up Stacey Abrams, because she was the mule. This is what this is all about, baby. This is what this is all about. Man, Stacey Abrams herself creating this organization, Raphael Warnock, these two people created this turn out the vote organization for Democrats as in shady as hell Georgia, and they got funneled $35 million. There you go. $35 million from who? This article is so mysteriously not asking the question. The most important question is, how did you go from an organization that raised more than $1 million to raising $35 million in 1 year, and it happened to be the year that Joe Biden was running for president and must win Georgia? And Georgia, in fact, was the state that they shockingly gave to Joe Biden, right? The state that nobody was counting on going for Biden. Yep, there you go. And 2 Democrat senators from the state. Oh, boy. Lucky that. The article goes on effectively to say that all the employees are saying the leadership are fraudulent. Everything was in chaos. All the money went pouring in without any accountability, because what they were doing was they were like they were doing what they did across the country, right? Shoving. They knew that they had pushed through COVID unaccountable mail-in ballots on everyone, and they needed to have human harvesters to go out and grab those ballots and shove them into drop boxes. That's what they needed. That's what this operation was. That's what this operation is, ladies and gentlemen. That's what these organizations did. And so that's where the money came from. They paid their employees in prepaid gift cards. Where have I seen that before? Oh, well, right here, ladies and gentlemen. In the same operation, the same system, massive voter fraud uncovered in Michigan, including estimates of 800,000 ballot applications sent to non-qualified voters, bags of prepaid gift cards, guns with silencers, burner phones, and Democrat-funded organization with multiple territories facilitate this in these states. Same story, same operation, same shady organization that is paid to go into certain communities and to get out the vote, meaning physically pick up the ballots and shove them into drop boxes. Now, where have I seen this before? Oh, yeah. In Connecticut, where Wanda was caught shoving ballots into drop boxes, voter drop boxes. This lady worked for the county. Here's Wanda just muling those ballots. So bad was this fraud that a Democrat judge actually canceled the election and said, I have no idea how to figure out who was the actual legitimate winner of this election. Because you shoved too many ballots into too many drop boxes. This is what happens when you send out mail-in ballots. They are unaccountable. You have no signature matching. And you have drop boxes that are unmanned. Tell me this is the system. This is the system. This is how our democratic leaders in these states break democracy forever. Unbelievably fraudulent. I'm shocked that Politico would write this story. I encourage you to go read it. I've hated Stacey Abrams for a very, very long time. This is clearly like if the Republicans had any balls in Georgia, they would be shutting down this organization and locking these people up for fraud, which they deserve to do. Election fraud is common in America and happens a lot. You can go over here to the Heritage Election Fraud Database to find out exactly how much election fraud is taking place in your general area. You can see here by the database. Here's in Florida. Criminal conviction, ineligible voting, false registrations, ineligible voting. This is just in Florida in 2023. Duplicate voting. Fraudulent use of absentee ballots. Altering the vote count. Look at all these. These are all charges that happened this year alone in my state. It's real. It's happening. And to not talk about it is to gaslight you. So keep your head on a swivel. It's become quite clear exactly what happened in 2020, what these people did, what they are capable of. Story after story after story underlies exactly how damaging mail-in balloting is, and drop boxes, signature verification, all of it wrapped together, bundled together to deliver fraud bombs on elections. And these organizations that were shoved full of cash in order to do this, well, now the bill's coming due. Funny how it's always the same corruption with these bastards. Man, goodness, we need some help in this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're fighting for free election. We're fighting for an actual constitutional republic on this channel. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't donate to Stacey Abrams. Bad person. See ya.